myself. Oh no, give me that cell. Oh, I gotta go like Cobain. 8 years to the grave, gone insane. My blood got propane. How you gon' go and throw my name with shame? Already cross-faded, making it to the disco. I hate it, and you know how this goes. You framed it, picture painted in my room. This that real life shit, none of Zoom, got the scene in it.
Make sure you subscribe to JerCrispy.
What's up, y'all? It shows the most, does the most. JerCrispy, welcome back to another video. God damn. Welcome back to another video. We're back at it again with Patrick CC. We're back at it again with Patrick CC. Today, what we got for Patrick CC? Last time we did watch Patrick CC, though, was something about Sam and Cat. Not Sam and Cat, the R. Carter show. I think. But today, the death of mainstream. Let's see how this goes. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, social media, gonna pop on the screen.
It was much easier to have your finger on the pulse of pop culture. There is more high-quality content available than ever before, and yet most people feel like there is something missing. There was once a time where it felt like we were all on the same wavelength when it came to entertainment and pop culture. Everything felt more impactful. Movies were bigger. Music spread further. Famous people were actually famous. Awards meant something. And if there was a shocking story in the news, it was impossible to miss. It was much easier to have your finger on the pulse of pop culture, and it created this bond that we had together as strangers. And we took it for granted, because now that that bond is gone, the world of entertainment, music, movies, shows, social media feels oversaturated, confusing, and dull. I bet most of you can relate to this. How many times these days does someone say to you, "Hey, did you hear about," or "Hey, did you see?" And not only is your answer no, but you literally have no idea what they are talking about. Life wasn't always like that. What we are missing today and for the past few years is a monoculture, which is essentially one culture that all Americans are connected to. Sometimes I even call it the death of mainstream, because nothing really feels mainstream anymore. Every decade had their own version of monoculture that was seemingly easily defined. But what will define the 2020s? Monoculture is dead. And for anyone watching this that's like a teenager or younger, it means nothing because they can't relate to that experience. But literally anyone older than that remembers their version of monoculture and probably misses it because it represents a much more simple time. Every generation before Gen Alpha had limited options for entertainment, and they thought it was a burden. Now our options are infinite. 3.7 million YouTube videos uploaded every day, one streaming service with every song ever made, and 100,000 new songs being uploaded every day. Dozens of subscription services with thousands of movies and TV shows, a literal endless singular feed of short-form videos that one can spend hours without realizing the time has passed. And despite having access to all of this content, a lot of us feel bored and disconnected from each other. Well, today I want to talk about that feeling. That feeling like something is missing. I believe it is tied to the death of monoculture. So let's dive into how we got here, where it went wrong, and actually why some of you might consider it to be a good thing. Entertainment has always evolved based on the available technology. The easier it is to consume, the less impactful it is. Movie theater ticket sales had their all-time peak in the US in 1946. Over 90 million weekly admissions were recorded, which means that about 60% of the US population went to go see a movie that year. Now, were movies objectively better in 1946? Absolutely not. There were just less of them, and less entertainment overall. The introduction of the television likely slowed down movie ticket sales, but opened up a whole new opportunity for entertainment. Cartoons, sitcoms, and of course, ads. You've probably never heard of Spokeo, Truthfinder, or been verified, but they've definitely heard of you. These are data brokers. They're entitled to your relative or free for 14 days from these sketchy on the same wavelength, and the entertainment added to our humanity. That is, unless you were entirely disinterested from the few available shows and movies, then you had no other options, your life sucked, and you were looking for other forms of entertainment like heroin. But at least back then, it didn't have fentanyl in it. But the way people consumed movies and television stayed relatively the same for decades. By the 1970s, 95% of households had a TV in it. And then in the 80s and 90s, there was a massive uptick in available entertainment, like an entire TV channel dedicated to showing music videos, or an entire channel dedicated to showing cartoons. But even with more niche options, primetime shows still dominated pop culture, and Americans still felt a sense of togetherness through a somewhat limited availability. Is music not hitting the same anymore? Doesn't it feel like you used to have a connection with others based on a shared love?
To this new shit now. Then back then shit, bro. Them niggas don't know about that Sega or the fucking Nintendos, all that shit, bro. These new niggas don't. And I just turned 20, so I'm not old. Fuck off my dick. But these new niggas don't know about all the old systems. I did that show my little brother a fucking Wii game. This nigga told me how the fuck he can sit there and play fucking Mario Wii. And I'm like, bro, my nigga, it's fun. But I had to realize this nigga is in a new generation. All them niggas is worrying about is fucking Roblox and fucking shit. Roblox, I would have said Roblox ruined it. It's just they added too much shit to you create your own game and all that shit.
Permeating connection to monoculture with a few key differences. For most of the 20th century, music was somewhat of a luxury. Today, for $15 a month, you can get access to every song ever made and 100,000 new ones uploaded daily. $15 used to get you one album, and you had to take your happy ass to a record store and physically buy it. And if the album was in high enough demand, they might not actually have it. And that seems like a dumb thing to say, but in our modern culture, entertainment is never not available to you. These stores often had a strong sense of community and served as a gathering place for music fans. It wasn't unusual for artists to stop in and play mini concerts or sign albums before an appearance in a particular city. When people bought an album, they were now invested. They worked hard for that money. So to get the value back, they actually listened to the whole thing. They even tried to like the songs that they didn't initially like because they paid for it, which ultimately made them appreciate the artistry on a different depth. This uninterrupted focus on the music built a deeper connection from the fans to the artist. Fans had to imagine what their favorite musicians were like based on lyrics, a few interviews, and carefully staged photographs in magazines or posters on their wall. There was a mystique. Pop stars felt larger than life, almost like fictional.
Question of the day: When did Rolling Loud started? Who was the first person to ever perform at Rolling Loud? Ever. Who was the first person in Rolling Loud that ever performed on that shit?
Characters, which is why people would pass out at the mere sight of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Today we have countless interviews and endless access to all of their thoughts and opinions on social media. That mystery is gone. Artists are more accessible than ever, and because of that, they feel less special. And since music was basically a luxury, most people didn't have tons of disposable income to buy every release they wanted to listen to. So they typically resorted to listening to the radio or watching MTV. You couldn't just search your favorite Guns N' Roses song and get that instant gratification. You had to turn on MTV and just wait for it to come on, but in the meantime, you were consuming tons of other good songs that made you a more well-rounded music listener. And that was the same predicament for everyone. So at school dances, parties, or clubs, everyone felt connected because the songs that were being played were the ones that everyone had the same access to. A lot of club DJs today still mostly play music from the 2010s, and a lot of people wonder why they aren't playing more modern music. Like, are we all crippled by nostalgia? Well, not necessarily, but when you play music from the 2010s, you can kind of guarantee that everyone in the club is going to know those songs. Whereas today, everyone just listens to vastly different music. What's considered extremely popular and mainstream to you might literally not be considered extremely popular and mainstream to the person next to you. Today, we have unlimited access to every song ever made. When a new song or album drops, it is just right there in your...
It's going to change every year. So, like, once y'all start growing up, my niggas, and once you have kids and shit like that, bro, the whole music genre is going to be changing different. So like your favorite artist is right now, boom, he's gonna be dead ass or old ass nigga. Or your favorite YouTuber, dead ass gonna be some old ass niggas now. Cause the whole genre is moving on, bro. So it's moving on every year.
Phone. You don't have to talk to anyone, don't have to buy it, don't have to wait. Most of the time, the artist is actually begging you to listen to it, or you accidentally found out about it. You didn't even want to discover it. Most people have resorted to just letting the algorithm decide what music to recommend to them because it's easier than doing all of the effort I just talked about before. Combine this lack of mono connectivity through music, requiring absolutely no effort to get access to the music, as well as artists not having the star power due to overexposure and surprise, music holds absolutely no value to the average casual listener. Once we entered the 2000s, the rapid advancement of available technology caused a dominant monoculture to become more fragmented. TVs were becoming cheaper, bigger, and higher quality. The internet was getting faster, becoming easier to access and navigate. Cell phones were in everyone's pocket. We were becoming more connected than ever, but we didn't realize it was actually going to drive us further apart. In my opinion, 2000 to 2010 was a great sweet spot for pop culture. I would describe today's culture as everything all at once, and the early 2000s was the same, but it was slightly more manageable. Let's start simple. Movies. Here is a graph of every movie released per year around the world. You can see the quantity of movies released remained relatively the same from the early 1970s to the late 1990s, and it just started slowly ramping up in the 2000s, or just simple films rise to the surface. Movies like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Little Miss Sunshine, Juno, and Requiem for a Dream. Everyone kind of knew what was coming and when it was coming.
Hold you, keep it a $1 with y'all. Know what the fuck all the movies, the second half of the movie you took. Down, nigga, everybody knows Spider-Man and fucking Batman and all that shit. What the fuck was that other shit, bro?
And that predictability created a shared sense of anticipation. Even smaller budget films had a shot at becoming massive, and the reason they had a shot was because people actually went to the theaters. Our last peak in movie theater ticket sales was in 2002 when 1.5 billion tickets were sold. But even if you didn't go to the theater, we had these really cool things called DVDs, where you could buy the movie that you missed and watch it at home. And if you didn't want to commit to buying it, no worries. You could rent the film for a few bucks by going to this magical place called Blockbuster. This is a store where you could essentially browse all of the movies that you didn't get the chance to see. You would actually talk to the employee who worked there, and they would give you a recommendation or tell you what everyone else is renting. Sometimes a movie was in such high demand that all of their copies would be rented and you couldn't get it. Imagine that. Imagine any form of entertainment being unavailable for you today. Scarcity created demand, and it made the film more exciting. It made you want to watch it more. Most of those crappy yet special early 2000s comedies were the perfect films to pick up at a Blockbuster, and people loved that place. The company earned $5 billion in revenue in 2004. The point is that you and everyone around you had this physical connection with the entertainment and was actively using their brain to choose what they wanted to consume. TV still had a somewhat similar rhythm in the 2000s. Primetime was still valuable airtime. MTV was in its best era, in my opinion, having a plethora of terrible yet oddly captivating reality TV shows and experimental series, while still having their sister network, MTV2, play music videos 24/7. It was one of the most versatile eras for mainstream music, with lyrical rap, crunk rap, rock, emo rock, country, pop, EDM, R&B, and countless other genres in a healthy rotation on MTV and the radio. It was just on the cusp of being overwhelming, but having it all contained on MTV and VH1.
Hey, I told myself off camera, I was like, damn, I might need to get more into country music too, low key. So I want y'all niggas to put me on to some country music if y'all can. Like, I only listen to like two so far.
It's still manageable to keep up with. Kids were absolutely consumed by Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network, which were 3 separate networks that each had 2 to 3 shows worth paying attention to in their respective eras. We still had a healthy separation between our personal lives and our school and work life from 9 to 5, only entertaining ourselves lightly in the morning and in the evenings. We didn't have a phone to distract us from literally every millisecond of boredom. The entertainment options still felt limited enough that you could feel like everyone around you was on the same wavelength. Plus, we were still at the mercy of knowing the schedule of when new shows were going to air. But that started to die when cable companies provided DVD.
my stuff used to not look like this, but it was like dark blue with the little purple to it. Yeah, like a little purple like this, dark blue with this. Yeah, he used to tell me fins and fur and shit. Nigga, how your shit look like this, bro?
VR capabilities. You could now record your favorite shows and movies and watch them later whenever you wanted. This was the beginning of the streaming service era takeover that so many people today loathe. Today, you may feel like you are not as connected to the culture because 1, less people are going to the theaters, and 2, the DVD and TV business has been demolished by streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, etc. Being able to stream anything, anywhere, anytime, all while being alone in your room means there's no anticipation, no excitement, nobody to share the experience with, and
but
therefore
the pointless of recording, because usually they'll show back the episode that same night, or they'll show the episode that same episode like the next day. So that's why I say it was really pointless of recording stuff.
no real reason to watch, which is why you simply scroll and scroll through endless choices, waiting for something to magically grab your attention, waiting for something to give you a reason to watch, but it just never happens. On a lighter note, every now and again, we do have a monoculture moment. I think back to the Barbie movie where girls were excited to dress in all pink and drag their boyfriends to the theaters, only for the guys to immediately after drag their girls to see Oppenheimer, where I'm assuming many of them fell asleep. I think back to Squid Games, where it felt like everyone and their mother was blindsided by this dystopian critique of capitalism all in sync, when it used to be literally all year, every year. I can't even remember the last time music had a monoculture moment. I mean, sure, radio is still kind of relevant. TikTok made popular songs more popular, but there's so much music all over the place, all the time, that I don't even know what anybody's listening to anymore. For TV, Yellowstone, Severance, White Lotus, Love Island, I mean, they are extremely popular, but can we say everyone is watching those shows? Will those shows define this era? I bet there are a ton of you watching that are like, I didn't watch a single one of those shows. The irony of it all is that the death of a unified...
I watched a little bit of Love Island, and that was with my cousin one time. And that was like last year or some shit.
Culture everyone seems to be feeling came with our pursuit to be more connected than ever before, because the adaptation of the internet and social media into our everyday lives was the nail in the coffin for monoculture. By the turn of the century, everyone with extra cash had a computer somewhere in the house. Our parents were using them to basically replace what the newspaper did for decades. As the desktops and internet connection got faster, we looked at forums, chatted.
God damn, what kind of fucking picture is that? God damn, bro. How old you had to be to really have computers like that? God damn. But I would have said I had no flash screen, but goddamn, my shit didn't look like that. Shout out to my grandma, you know? She's still living healthy and strong and well. I need her to live long, but her computer never looked like that when I was little.
Through AOL Instant Messenger, played simple flash games on Newgrounds, and even bid on random antiques from eBay. Being connected to random people all over the world was beautiful. You were no longer limited to the thoughts, beliefs, and interests of those in your geographical location. The internet was still somewhat difficult to navigate. You know, there was a time when Google didn't have all the answers. You had to check other search engines like Yahoo and my favorite, Ask Jeeves, to find what you were looking for. Videos would take forever to load, the quality was often terrible, and sometimes just straight up didn't work. Using the internet kind of felt like exploring uncharted land. That friction, scarcity, and lack of instant gratification was...
Now I gotta hug you. We used to, that man, me and my twin brother, we used to watch so much, cartoon, and then we watch niggas who play with plushies, right? Play with toys. Shout out to SML, Anime Brothers. Who else we used to watch? We used to watch Combined 456. What's that nigga name? Oh, PK Sparks. Who else we used to watch? It was Sunny. I think that's really how often we were watching these niggas. And I think my brother was watching Scott, but I ain't get into Scott like that. Shit. Who else? What else? I used to watch. I used to watch a lot of genre stuff. I used to be like putting Mario, Sonic, you know, and they used to have like a lot of videos, and I used to just sit there and watch the whole thing. Used to bring me back memories. It was like Mario, Sonic fighting each other or some shit, like, or working together and fighting Eggman and Bowser.
What made it special? It was worth working for. Today, we just expect things to work. We demand convenience, and we are willing to give up our human autonomy for it. Initially, the entertainment industry as a whole saw the internet as a threat because of piracy. Suddenly, millions of people could download movies, music, and TV shows for free through networks like Napster, LimeWire, and torrent sites, completely bypassing traditional revenue models. Studios, labels, and networks feared the collapse of their business structure, as physical sales and TV deals were at the risk of being replaced. The internet stripped them of control, and for the first time, the consumer had the power to access content without paying a cent. From the consumer's perspective, the logic was simple. Why pay for something when you can get it for free instantly? Piracy wasn't just about being cheap, it was about convenience. Buying a CD or DVD meant going to a store, spending 10 to 20 bucks, and hoping you'd like the full album or movie. Then again, people didn't realize the nuanced value of the additional human experiences they got while consuming entertainment. All that driving to the store, talking to people, limited inventory, sitting on a sticky theater seat, that was all just considered to be an inconvenient cost to getting what you wanted. But you couldn't argue against the value that the internet brought to individuals. It gave everyone a voice, a platform, and endless options tailored exactly to their preferences. And that ramped up significantly in 2003 when MySpace became the first widely accepted.
Tom, who caught that nice, like, what mindset of yours thought you would just hit some stuff like this? Like, and you look like you was a teacher. Tom, you look like a teacher, dog. This nigga Tom look like a whole fucking teacher out this motherfucker, bro. Niggas from Georgia, what the fuck? Orlando, Miami, View more, and they look how MySpace used to be. A male 30, freaking California is crazy. United States. Bro, this is how MySpace used to look like. A block user, rank users. You could use a rank niggas? And this bitch, what the fuck? The fuck is this shit? Wait, did I say 4 yard 2 friends? What the fuck? MySpace is
platform for social media. By 2005, the platform had around 300 million users and had an estimated valuation of over 10 billion.
I might ask my grandma on the street one day and ask her, did she ever have MySpace?
The platform allowed people to share their personal passions and stories as individuals. If nobody in your real life aligned with your interests, you would be able to find a community of like-minded people online.
Hey, video creator, we know you. For you, it's about more than getting the job done.
You don't know me.
People started calling random strangers on the internet their friends. They became invested in their lives, wanting to know what they were doing in their geographical location. Your connection to random people around the world started to make you disconnected from those physically around you. Slowly, the digital world began to feel more important than the physical one. As platforms evolved, first with Facebook, then Instagram, and eventually TikTok, the focus shifted even further away from a shared experience and towards personal branding. Algorithms were designed not to connect people as a whole, but to keep you personally engaged, feeding you content you already agreed with or found entertaining. The internet became less of a town square and more of an echo chamber, reflecting only your own tastes, beliefs, and biases back at you, just so you wouldn't click off the app. Social media stopped being about community and became a stage where everyone was the main character of their own story. It made individuals feel more powerful than ever, which could be considered a good thing, but it also created a cultural landscape more narcissistic, divisive, and isolated than any era in history. So the reason why movies, TV, YouTube, social media, and literally all other forms of entertainment don't feel the same is a combination of really complicated nuances. However, with a shift in mentality, you could look at all of this as a good thing. If you are a strong-minded individual, introverted, or just someone who doesn't doesn't really care about a sense of community and those around you, you are in the golden ages. For decades, if you didn't fit into the narrow lens of what the mainstream deemed valuable, if you didn't like the biggest pop star or wear the right clothes or relate to the 5 TV shows everyone else watched, you were invisible. You had nowhere to go. You were the weird kid, the quiet one, the one who didn't belong.
Damn, I was the weird kid, quiet kid, because I ain't want to know what you was.
But now, the internet gives you infinite options to find belonging. And literally any interest you may have, no matter how unique it is, chances are there is a niche community where someone like you isn't just accepted.
The fuck these niggas doing in the background, bro? I know these niggas making all this noise for no reason, and I know y'all niggas too. The fuck is wrong with these niggas, bro?
You're celebrated. Do you like wolves?
Y'all don't mind them, bro.
Wolves eating watermelons? So do 61,000 other people. Do you like stapling bread to trees? So do 335,000 other people.
Y'all like the staple bread? And this freaking 2017. But like y'all ain't come down here trying to staple no fucking bread on trees.
Today, a girl who was once mocked in school for...
Hey, nice good drawing. Like, kids that used to draw like this were never weird to me. Like, that they was just normal ass niggas just had talents like that. I was like, man, nigga, I might need you for a show one day. Man, let me get your contact. Like, you know?
Drawing anime characters in her notebook can become a full-time artist with a fan base of thousands or millions. A kid who was laughed at for making weird songs on his cracked BandLab app can go viral on TikTok and then chart on the...
Shit, Chad. Shout out to BandLab. I be using the fuck out of BandLab. And I'm probably going to use the fuck out of BandLab and probably might get in a little studio just in case. Might get in the studio a little bit. I don't know, bro. But shit, how the way BandLab got it set it up, you might not even want to go to studio person. Okay, they got it. Now you can clean your voice up nice and clean up. You can clean up the nicer well. You ain't have to go take a lot of retakes. You can just click that button and boom, it's clear like that. And then they got you could make your own Spotify and all that shit. And, boom, all that. You can make it Spotify, but it's send it directly to your Spotify and send it directly to your SoundCloud and all that shit. Like, shit that you already post on music on.
Spotify Viral 50. A filmmaker with no connections and no budget can put their short film on YouTube and have it resonate with millions of people around the world. These stories...
But the downside of having short film is you not getting paid from that, though. Like, at least got to be an 8-minute video.
These were impossible in the monoculture era because the gatekeepers decided what was and what wasn't. Before the internet, independence was next to impossible, and today the gatekeepers have less power than ever. So maybe entertainment feels more chaotic, more overwhelming, and less special. Maybe we are no longer all connected under a simple, easy-to-navigate monoculture, but there is more opportunity than ever for a small independent creator to get a taste of that success. And for consumers, if you know what your interests are and do not let algorithms decide what you want to watch and are willing to do the tedious task to actively get outside of the echo chamber that these algorithms are trying to hold you in and find that one quality YouTuber or that one underrated Hulu series, then you are probably completely fine with today's entertainment climate. Build your own world. Who cares about community? This is your life. Now, I personally go back and forth on my feelings towards the death of monoculture. I don't personally feel drowned out in content. Since I have terrible movie and TV taste, I will watch just about anything as long as there is a decent premise for the plot. As far as music goes, I am totally willing to put in the grind to find my new favorite artist, and I'm actually one of those annoying people who kind of starts to dislike someone when they get more famous. So I actively look for...
Yeah, how you dislike somebody that's more famous and shit like that? Like, you gotta have a reason for me to be hating on you, though.
Underrated talent, and Spotify and social media makes that a million times easier and more convenient. But at the same time, I do miss that sense of monoculture. I play a lot of golf, and when I meet new people, I've had countless conversations that lead nowhere because we have absolutely nothing in common due to being stuck in totally different algorithmic echo chambers. Sometimes the golfers don't even watch golf, so I'm just like, How's the weather? And obviously I'm a creator, so I'm benefiting from a system that was created for me to succeed. And because of my feelings going back and forth, my channel is somewhat a reflection of the lack of and yearning for an entertainment monoculture. My YouTube channel is kind of like a 2000s MTV inspired hodgepodge of modern pop culture. Firstly, I'm reliable, posting every Monday at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And every week we talk about something pop culture related. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's film, sometimes it's internet personalities, sometimes it's a comedian, action sports star, politics. The modern YouTube algorithm wants you to keep making the same video over and over with the same thumbnails and dominate one specific niche, which is why you see so many successful channels being repetitive, because that is literally what works. I try to keep a balance, and because of that, some videos get more views than others, some videos bomb, but I hope you enjoy me keeping that.
Anywho, that's my nigga Patrick C6E. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow all social media, pop up on the screen. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Love y'all to the bottom of my heart. And I'm out.